That is what makes them special. The offense is better now than it's been at any other point in this generation of Mariner teams, but the rotation is their identity, and they have gotten their identity back. When you win a high-scoring game, as they have done this week, and then you win a game today that's very low-scoring and tense, it shows that you can win in different circumstances. The situational hitting has been much better of late, and I believe there is enough offense in that lineup, 1 through 9, to be able to beat quality pitching and win in intense environments. So really everything for this team is clicking right now. And you look at the team across the way they're going to face this weekend with Houston, and there's no Yordan Alvarez in that lineup right now. It is a very, very different team. And if you had told Mariner fans that at the beginning of the year, that on September 19th they would be facing in a battle for first place, game 1 of a series against the Astros, and that Astros team would not have a Yordan Alvarez on it, and of course no longer has Bregman and Tucker, it's a different era of that lineup, I think every Mariner fan would have signed up for that immediately. And so I think that's why there's such excitement for Mariner fans right now, because this is really what they envisioned the chance to do. And in so many ways, isn't this fitting, right? Now listen, I'm sure on some level the Mariner fans would say, "Oh, we'd love to win the division by 10 games and have it all wrapped up," and it's better that way, right? To have it all figured out. But come on. We love the drama. You to be able to go through, and if you're the Bulls of the early 90s, you had to go through the Pistons to get to where you were going. You had to beat your nemesis. And I think the way this has been scripted, this is baseball theater. This is exactly what Mariner fans would want. And again, if you want to be able to win the division, you've got to be able to win a late season series against your rival. It is all right there, and I cannot wait to see how the series plays out.
John, the pitching matchups couldn't have lined up better either.
Right.
Brian Wu, Hunter Brown in game 1, and then Kirby and Gilbert, Valdez and Alexander. Looking past that a little bit, because we've kind of hyped this up so much, as you win this, you essentially win the division. But then you have this strange Rockies and Dodgers after. Could you see at some point MLB going to only finishing with division foes? Is that feasible? Is that possible? It just seems kind of strange. You have this massive series, and then you have stuff at the end of the year that doesn't really affect where you are in your respective league. It's the quick answer is, I think that the format is the way it's going to be. It is, from a statistical standpoint, just not possible at this juncture, just based on the way that the league is set up. Now, it will be possible if and when we get to a 32-team Major League Baseball. Then it becomes possible. Then you have either, probably at that point, 8 divisions of 4 teams, and then you can have the last week be all within your division. That's when you can do it. Not now, not with 30. We can't do it then. But in the future, yes, I like the idea. It is less of an issue than it was in the past. I recall one year the Tigers were trying to clinch a division title, and not only were they playing out of their division for the final series, they were playing interleague play on the road, which was of considerable consternation to the Victor Martinez dependent Tigers, who had wait a minute, we got Cabrera playing first, Victor's our DH, and now in the biggest games of the year we can't have Victor Martinez in the lineup. So back then it was a real problem when there were different rules. Now at least it's all the same rules. I think that it's maybe not ideal, but it's perfectly suitable. And I would say this to Mariner fans and the Mariners themselves: take the Rockies lightly at your own peril, because I have seen many a team that's out of it ruin the season of the team with everything to play for, because baseball, as we've talked about before, is the one sport you can't play better by playing harder. And we've got to work on that. And I think that is now the thing that the Mariners have to find a way to play still the same caliber of tense baseball, which, by the way, they did this week in KC. The Royals are, at this point in time, out of it. And so I really admire the way the Mariners are bringing that same effort every night, no matter who the competition is.
Boy, I'll tell you what, you mentioned how the great drama for this weekend in this race. We can't have that. We can't have them losing the series to the Colorado Rockies, man. You know what? I'll tell you what. I was on a 2-14 team. Not proud of it. Not proud of it, but we loved being the spoiler. And obviously it only happened twice. but you know, you're right. And I think players that are on a bad team like that, I know that I wanted to make sure everybody in the league knew that I wasn't the reason why we were 2-14.
Right.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you're going to get from the Rockies. So I mean, shoot, that might, but I don't know. Do teams actually really let down or not appreciate how good their opponent is or anything? I don't know. I just think professionals don't do that. I think it's more of a thing for fans. But yeah, you bring up an interesting point there because there's going to be plenty of focus in this Astros series, but maybe not so much.
Well, the one thing I'll add about the Rockies, and this is getting into the psychology of the athlete a little bit, which you're articulating very well. There is a lot of professional pride on the part of the Rockies, even as they've struggled this season. But remember this, that these are all great players. They're all great athletes in any sort of reasonable assessment of what a great ball player and athlete is. And they're going to step into T-Mobile. If you're a Rockies player and your game's now Coors Field, I want to praise Rocky fans because they've still shown up in very good numbers this year. If you look at the MLB standings, they are one of the better attended teams. They're comfortably in the top half, despite the fact that the team is bad. So big time credit to the fans of Denver. But there is nothing like, as we all know, when you're in a ballpark in September with something to play for and it's intense, and they're going to get, as an athlete, you're going to get a little excitement from just the atmosphere around you. You're going to play, you're going to feel, if you're a Rockies player, you're going to feel like you're playing in the playoffs for 3 days.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like that. And so I think it brings out even a better level of play in you. And also at the same time, not only are you benefiting from the atmosphere, but you do not have the same level of anxiety about all the things that are at stake and, oh my gosh, if I make a mistake, the season's over, whatever it might be. You don't have all those pressures that the Mariners have. So you're benefiting from all the good stuff, the atmosphere, without the tension that goes into trying to close out a division. So I think that's why sometimes you see teams that are out of it be very dangerous opponents late in the year. So you got to keep playing the schedule, which the Mariners know. Dan Wilson knows that. The Mariners know that. But I do think it becomes a very interesting phenomenon to observe as fans and as broadcasters.
JP, while you were doing post-game duties for Guardians Tigers, not sure if you saw a pretty consequential replay review that the Mariners did, where Dominic Canzone grounded out to second. It turned out the Mariners saw that, Michael Massey, the second baseman, had a foot on the outfield grass, so they reviewed it, and all of a sudden, he was granted first with the error. We haven't seen anything like that, I don't think, since that shift came into play, but what does that kind of say about all these little things that go into the makeup of a game that the Mariners Major League Video Review guy sees that, points it out to Dan Wilson. They challenge that. Canzone, instead of grounding out, gets first base. The Mariners score a run because of that, and in a 2-0 game, it turns out to be a pretty impactful run.
Details. And this is where I love that. And by the way, huge credit to the Mariner video replay team. This is the time of year where no detail is too small. There are advanced scouts, and who knows if maybe on video the Mariners picked it up, that Massey would have a tendency to have a foot on the outfield grass at times. I don't know that to be true, but it's possible that was scouted previously where they were keeping an eye on that. That's number one. And number two, this is the time of year where any sort of little thing that you do, whether it's a tell about, okay, if I'm going to throw a breaking pitch, I bite my lip, and all of a sudden then okay, if he's biting his lip, look for a breaking ball. All those little tells. We have seen teams reduce their professional scouting staffs. The Twins were the most recent to do this, in lieu of now going to more video scouting. Especially this time of year, you need to have people who understand how to advance scout and look for little things. You talk about the Royals 10 years ago. They won the World Series because they knew that they could run on Lucas Duda. And Duda had his back turned. Hosmer took home, changed the whole World Series. They did the same thing in the ALCS. They ran on Bautista. He threw too high. They were able to score a run from first on a single. these are important things. And in every game right now, there were things being written down, I promise you, by Mariners scouts looking at other games that were being played to help them get ready for the playoffs. And it's those little things. And so big-time credit to the Mariners video scouting staff and scouting staff in general.
Hey, JP, how would you assess what Jorge Polanco has meant to this Mariners lineup this season?
It's a great topic, Mike, and I think that you got to look back to last year and what they thought they were getting from him last year, and then he just never was healthy enough to deliver. This is the player they believed they were getting. And then when you look at his contributions, where he can hit in the lineup, it just provides so much more length. His ability to hit around the middle of the lineup is what allows the Mariners to have such productive hitters in the 7th and 8th spots. And so that, it's a bat that obviously has impact on both sides. The power has been there. He's an athlete. You can tell that his teammates really enjoy playing with him. He's always had, I think, that reputation, even going back to Minnesota, of being a very exciting player. And he, I think, is going to be one of their more important players. He has postseason experience, not a lot of it, but some. And so I think for a lot of those reasons, he'll be one of the players that the Mariners look to. As much as you want to talk about, yes, the addition of Suarez is important. Naylor is important. But I think it was just getting the healthy return of someone who's been here since last year in Jorge Polanco that has really changed this lineup a lot. And honestly, you look at it 1 through 9, guys. Look at the Toronto Blue Jays right now. Bo Bichette is still out of the lineup. The Mariners might have right now the deepest 1 through 9 lineup in terms of how they're clicking right now among all the contending teams in the American League. And I did not think I was going to say that, but right now, it's all about right now how you look. I'm not talking about how many home runs Aaron Judge has hit all season long. It's how is the lineup functioning today. And today, I like the look of the Seattle Mariners.
So you're saying they're going to win the series, JP?
Yeah, I've got the Mariners winning 2 out of 3. But I tell you what,
okay.
When you think about Wu and Brown, I mean, those are 2 aces. I mean, they're both going to get Cy Young votes, I think, in terms of top 5. They'll be on some ballots. And, man, and the thing is that I like about both of them is that not only are they really talented pitchers who are fun to watch, they have both delivered massive performances for their teams, and for me this year have both at very young ages earned the title of big game pitcher.
Yeah.
So you've got this is Schilling facing Clemens. These are the matchups that you talk about that I think are so much fun to watch in a big game setting. And what a weekend of baseball we've got ahead of us.
Yep.
Well, JP, couldn't let you get out of here without once again bringing up that AL MVP topic that is so polarizing depending on which part of the country you are on. And at one point it looked like, well, Cal with a little bit of a slump, he had not done enough, that Aaron Judge, those pure numbers would be the carrying force. And now all of a sudden, those milestones start to fall for Cal Raleigh, 55, 56. So sitting here right now, is there something you think that Cal needs to do to almost solidify the award? Do you think he has a shot? Where would you kind of sum up this MVP race right now?
Yeah, Mike, it's a fun question, and I certainly think over the last week or 10 days there's been some more momentum on Cal's side. He's doing things that have never been done before, and historic greatness has been an element that often has helped MVP cases. What I would say is this. At this juncture, obviously, he could still accumulate some more homers and RBIs in the next week or so, week or 10 days, that will improve his case. But from an overall standpoint, the numbers are basically what they're going to be. He's not going to all of a sudden overtake Judge in OPS in the next 10 days. I don't think so, at least. But honestly, probably at this moment in time, the thing that could make the biggest impact is the Mariners winning the division. Now, people could argue with me and say, that shouldn't matter. Well, all I can say is it's mattered to me when I voted. It is not the sole determining factor. I'll make that clear. But the team's success is contextualized in the overall performance of the player. And you have as part of that, the still, I believe, unquantifiable value of a great catcher. It's the one position that I feel like on the field we have never been able to fully capture with a number what a great catcher does. And Cal Raleigh is a great catcher. So I think he's improved his stock. And honestly, if you were to ask me what matters more in the minds of voters, I think it would be just as important for the Mariners to win the American League West as for Cal Raleigh to hit 4 more home runs. That may sound completely antithetical to everything that we've ever believed about voting on awards, but as someone that's voted for this award before, I believe it matters. And so I guess the advice to Cal Raleigh is hit 4 more homers and win the division, and then your chances will probably dramatically improve.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And John, by the time you join us again, we might have a division crown to talk about. We might have a potential clinching night to talk about. Final week of the regular season coming up next week. Cannot wait. 9 games left in the regular season. JP, thanks for joining us today. Been a lot of fun.
I can't wait. This is the best time of year, and very much look forward to our conversation next week.
Yes,
thanks
again. All right, thanks,
Thank you.
John. That is our MLB Network insider, Jon Morosi.